Finland, you basically have to decide if you want to take the western or the eastern route up north. We like it remote and chose the eastern route close to the Russian border because of that. The blue track shows the original TET and the purple tracks were our detours. As you can see, we made a detour in the south to meet some guys from the Finnish biker club in Jyväskylä. We did a short trip to Sweden in the middle part and finally took the road to the very northeastern end of Finland. The ferry from Tallinn to Helsinki takes around 2.5 hours and is surprisingly cheap compared to the touristic ferries from Germany to Scandinavia. It only costs 68 euro for both of us, including the bikes, and is actually nicer too. As soon as the Finnish people on the ferry notice that you're a foreigner, they give you an important advice: buy as much beer as possible on the ferry. So we did. However, we were quite surprised to hear that. We actually expected that a country next to Russia would be rather cheap for beer. Well, we were completely wrong. The truth is, they're almost as crazy as Norway with their alcohol prices. Don't they know that beer is staple food in Germany? When we arrived at the port of Helsinki, the weather was almost as bad as on the Estonian side. Luckily, Mathieu and Emmy invited us to stay for a night that day at their beautiful house a bit east of the capital. We had a great barbecue and got introduced in one of the most popular leisure activities in Finland: sauna. The next day we started riding the first part of the TET and met Mika, the linesman of the Finnish TET, to get some more details about the different tricks. And of course, it started raining again like crazy for the next 2 days, so we needed a plan. Fortunately, Finland has by far the greatest density of free wilderness huts we have ever seen in any country of this world. This map can only give you a hint how many there really are. It's absolutely perfect after a ride in crazy rain for the whole day, and we can tell you that there are a lot in Finland.
Es ist ganz schön dicker Superburger.
Ja, ein Superburger, Mann.
So soon over there we'll bite a huge fish, which will be my dinner. Looking forward to it. And there I'm still sitting, no fish yet. Luckily we bought food, because otherwise I would starve to death. Let's see how Toby has it.
Das ist nervig im Stich liegen.
We call it Scandinavian protein coffee. Lots of little animals from the lake. Miriam is already waiting for it. She never comes out of the tent before the coffee is finished.
The fucking shit together.
Yeah. Another rainy night later, we drove to Jyväskylä, where we got invited to the local motorcycle club. They welcomed us warmly and Artie and Petri showed us around. We could take a shower and were allowed to sleep in the club that night. We also could see our first midnight sun and Miriam got a new helmet camera mount. The old one was still broken after her bike fell over on a ferry in Estonia. So we were finally ready to make new videos when we left the next morning. beginning of this video we have told you about the high density of huts in Finland. This, for example, is one of the hut types you can find all over the country. It is completely closed and usually looks like a teepee with a fireplace in the middle. These ones are called kutas. Very often there is enough space for camping mattresses around the fireplace, or the benches can be even wide enough for a nice bed. This one unfortunately has a gravel floor, which isn't that ideal to place a mattress. But hey, it's for free, isn't that great? Another type of huts are lavus. They are basically only wind sheds with one side completely open. Still great in rainy weather. If you're lucky, it is big enough to pitch a tent inside. Ideally, you find one of those, because it's usually uncomfortable to sleep there without a tent due to the insane amount of midges in summertime. In Juuka, we left the Finnish TET for some time to see the Paalasmaa Archipelago. It consists of 3 islands that are connected to the mainland by a ferry and some bridges. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't that great, but it didn't rain at least. The scenery is really great anyway, and it is fun to ride a road that seems to float on the lake in some parts between the islands. last island has also a watchtower with a fantastic view, and you can have some crazy fun with billions of annoying flies. It's all for free, even the ferry, and definitely worth to go for a little detour. Half on the way to the north of Finland, close to the Russian border and near Suomussalmi, the TET passes the Winter War Memorial of the Battle of Suomussalmi. It's a tribute to all the veterans of the Winter War in 1939-1940. There's also a museum, and it's next to the TET anyway, so definitely worth a stop. weather forecast turned out to be terrible again for the next few days. Therefore, we decided to do a little detour to Luleå in Sweden, that is supposed to be one of the sunniest regions in the whole country. And we got invited by Per and his family there too. Surprisingly, the journey didn't go without a little trouble though.
Jetzt kommt er wieder! Warum macht er das? Der rammt sich bestimmt gleich. Geh du mal vorbei. Dann lass dich nicht vorbei. Noch nicht. Der kommt. Fahr weiter. Ich fahre jetzt auch schnell. Fahr! Fahr! Fahr!
When we arrived in Luleå, we suddenly really had sunshine, although almost all Scandinavia was covered in rain clouds that time. What a surprise! Per took us for a nighttime boat trip to the Luleå Archipelago. Luleå is only 100 kilometers south of the Arctic Circle, so it already never becomes completely dark anymore in summertime. Another interesting fact is that the water around the archipelago is brackish due to one of the largest Swedish rivers coming in here. Because of that, big parts of the sea are frozen here in wintertime, so they make roads for cars on the sea, and you even can see icebreakers in the port, what is very unusual in these latitudes. Before riding back to Finland, we quickly visited the nearby Storforsen waterfall. It's actually more rapid than a waterfall, since it only drops for around 80 meters in a distance of 5 kilometers. so it isn't impressive due to its height, but more to the insane amounts of water coming down here. Nobody has ever tried to ride it with a kayak so far, by the way, just to get an idea how extreme the rapids actually are. The whole park is really beautiful and it's even for free. Finland, we passed Rovaniemi, the capital of Lapland, on our way to the north. It is mainly known for the Arctic Science Center and a touristic place called Santa Claus Village a bit northeast of the city. Although this is supposed to be one of the top tourist attractions in Finland, we couldn't see much more than a few commercial shops with kitschy souvenirs. That wasn't very surprising though, also because our Finnish friends had already warned us in advance. So we just took some photos and continued riding. Some kilometers later we noticed a motorcycle rider following us. It was Felix, a young motorcycle rider from Germany. He became a bit bored riding completely alone all the time, so he joined us for a few days to ride the remotest region of the Finnish TET. Sala region is one of the remotest areas of the Finnish TET and also one of the remotest TET areas overall. One can ride here for hours without seeing any other people. We know that this isn't anything special for people coming from other continents, but this is extremely rare in Europe. Therefore, it is also important to watch one's fuel level, since there aren't many petrol stations either, and you certainly don't want to run out of gas in this region. finally left Finland at the border in the very northeast. Our attempt to get some cheaper gas at the last petrol station in Finland before entering Norway was done. Petrol prices in Finland turned out to be even crazier than in Norway. Finland was an absolute surprise for us. Many people told us before that Finland is boring compared to the other Scandinavian countries. That might be true if you only take the main highways to reach the North Cape as fast as possible, what a lot of people do. However, as soon as you ride Finland's remote regions, it's a real jewel where you don't have to deal with thousands of other tourists all the time.